This virtual media. There's a whole lot more to this than you can believe. Good morning from the East Bay. It is 8:01 a.m. And yes, I did. I woke up this morning thinking, I got 24/7 questions. I got questions I can't answer. I got questions that I can't get answers for. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't get answers for every question that comes up in my mind. But what is convenient is to have quick reference. Because if you went around and you asked everybody questions, they would think you're stupid. The quick references are good. And I woke up this morning, I was wondering, I said, what are the responses and attitudes and ways of people who know very little about survival? And the reason why that question came up is because my experiences with people day to day, people that are out here in the streets, people that have been, like most of us, been kind of complacent, kind of dependent on the system. Whether it was welfare, getting a job, just getting up, pardon my clearing my throat and what have you. Also making some coffee. That'll be along soon. You come across people in various experiences, and you guys could be around each other, say, anywhere from a couple of seconds to a few days, weeks. But then if you're somewhat seasoned to the system that be, common things like losing an apartment, losing a house, losing a car, bicycle being stolen, getting into an argument, getting into, fisticuffs or whatever the case may be, divorce. You come across people that have had these experiences, and sometimes their responses are not very secure, not very cool. It's like, what moves you to think that way? How would you move in a certain situation? But then you check them out. You watch them, you observe them. Their responses, their vernacular, their oration. Let alone the oration, but just the vernacular. Sometimes the vernacular is just off. They speak real fast. They speak over you. They're not listening to you. They take a few words that you say and then they run with that. And you're never making a point to them. And people like that, to me, are people that you really do not want to have in your crew, for sure, when shit hit the fan. Because they're not going to be cool. And me being heterosexual, I just want to say, ladies, you have to ground yourself in, let's just say, the probabilities of hardships. And if you got a man, he needs to be that way too. I'm talking to the ladies especially because, see, I love y'all. And sometimes we men are not grounded in survival. We're not grounded in even the thought, even the practice upon integrity. So integrity goes both ways. A woman can have it and a man can have it. But ladies especially, a lot of you single moms, single parents, been divorced, whatever. You have to discipline yourself and gain some composure on different attitudes, different experiences, different outcomes, different results. different occurrences, sudden occurrences, you know? And this goes along for me too. I have to defend myself. I have to build my integrity. I have to discipline myself against certain attitudes, certain impulses, certain reactions. Because what do we have? We have wars. It's not quite a world war yet, because not everybody's involved. But then again, there's a lot of countries that can become involved. You have a mixture, a swirling of nonsense. Basically, concocted by the West. And even the West is talking about this. People here in the West. But we are in a system where anything can jump off now. And then they talk about if you can't prepare for yourself, maybe you need to get with community, get with somebody. That's fine and dandy. But depending on your position, you have to think on how you will survive and how you will confront, how you would deal with certain issues that you might experience soon. One thing I can say is this. A few days back, I had parked. Now I have two phones. So I came across the person that sold me my second phone. Again, I wanted to tell him that the battery was weak in that phone. The battery would die within a few hours. But there was two sisters on the side. So we started talking. Then there's this one guy that's talking to the salesman. And he's going on. Now, being out here on the streets, what I'm saying is I know the streets. I know the streets seriously. I have no problem with the streets. The streets are good to me. The streets are good to those people that are good to the streets. A lot of these dudes running around talking about they know the streets. They know the area that they deal with. They don't know the streets. Matter of fact, they're afraid of the streets. Truly. They go back home. But I could tell this guy here, he was holding a conversation. He just wanted to kill some time in whatever mind frame he was in. So the sister was over there. And so I saw a sister, I noticed she had a cinnamon stick in her mouth. She was enjoying a cinnamon stick. So, I hollered over at her. I said, "You got a cinnamon stick?" And she said, "Huh?" I said, "You got a cinnamon stick, huh?" She said, "Yeah." So we started talking. We started conversating about the cinnamon stick and where she got it. She had another young lady with her. So this dude, he turns around, his brother, turns around. "Hey, could you guys, quiet down, go over there?" So I said, I did exactly what he wanted me to do. I just walked over there. I didn't want to be rude. Started talking to the sisters. And she said something, and then he said something to her. And she began to, I said, shh, don't. Because I could tell this dude didn't have them all. And see, people in that state of mind there fly off the handle. They could be dangerous, get their ass kicked, whatever the case may be. The situation would just be unnecessary. So by me feeling this dude, I just kind of tell her, "Hey, listen, don't, I'm thinking, you a lady, you don't want to argue with this fool. And besides, we don't want to be putting shows out here. It's unnecessary to even respond to ignorance." An example of building your integrity against nonsense. That's lightweight. But then we have other issues out here considering racism. And then now and then you'll see a post of maybe some racist walking down the street, whether it's a show or not. I think they need to be careful because this is a different day. But anyway, they're walking down the street. You got that issue. So how do you approach that issue mentally? For the most part, if you're going to record it, you record it if it's necessary, if it's instrumental to show somebody that on social media. Otherwise, just videotaping it might be exactly what the opposition wants, to be seen. So is it always necessary to videotape shit? No. You might want to videotape it for your own records. But otherwise, a lot of times it's just not necessary videotaping everything you see just because you got a damn camera. If you're not going to do anything with the videotape for the right reasons, don't videotape. Me, I like to videotape a lot of things, but I like to videotape nature, occurrences, just natural occurrences, just on the whim. And I will videotape a situation if it's necessary to videotape it, like maybe police beat downs. I don't give a damn about the rules and laws as far as to, it's against the law to videotape these idiots, okay? You're going to get videotaped one way or another. Somebody's going to see your ass, okay? So you might as well get off of that. But yeah, that's that. Okay, but based on what I was looking up here, what are the responses, attitudes, and ways of people who know very little about survival? It all pertains to that right there, that title there. You see, because people, their attitude, responses, a lot of times are just frivolous, impulsive, unnecessary, unmindful of what they do. And they show it easily to a person like me, who is chatty, who's conversational, who's sociable, but knows how to give space for the next person to give their oration or their opinion or their perspective on the subject at hand. What are the responses, attitudes, and ways of people who know very little about survival? Now, everything I said pertains to this, so we're going to go on down here. And this is the answer I got back from AI. AI is good, depends on what you use it for, okay? You want to use it for looking up naked girls, so be it, that's your thing. But stupider you'll get, and it'll probably give you something else sooner or later, that you don't want to, probably freak you out and scare you from doing something like that eventually. Because, like I said, I've been there as far as to, before AI, what man hasn't, thinking about TV Jakes and all them, but what man hasn't been into adult sites and probably stayed in there a little while and was inspired to follow it even more because it's sex. But I had to stop. I stopped doing that some years back. And the secrecy behind things like that, like say, that's another subject for another. That's another subject for another time or something like that, because there's some deep shit behind that. But people know very little about survival. People who know very little about survival often exhibit certain responses and attitudes when faced with survival situations. 1, panic and anxiety. Without knowledge of training, individuals may panic, which can hinder decision-making and lead to poor choices. See, this pertains to the people that I was talking about, that talk real fast, talk a lot, you can't get a point in, they're just talking. And then when you straighten them, you let them know, you're getting above me, you're getting beyond the subject, whatever the case may be. They get upset. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be corrected. This is what you deal with in people like this when something happens all of a sudden. They snap. There's not too much you can do with them. Number 2, lack of preparedness. They might not prioritize essential tasks like finding shelter or water, focusing instead on less critical activities. Man, it's hard to find Army. It's hard to find service. It's hard to find a real soldier out here today. Out here, it's really hard to find a real soldier because they're so distracted. Over-reliance on tools. There can be an over-reliance on gear rather than developing a survival mindset or basic skill like fire making and navigation. So some of this stuff I need to learn, but some of it I've got down. Okay. Number 4. Underestimating situations. Some may view survival as a recreational challenge rather than a serious life or death situation leading to inadequate preparation. So you have those people out there. Are you a prepper? What the hell are you asking me that question for? What does prepping mean? Let me ask you a question. Are you preparing? No, I don't. Hey, listen. A guy that I really respect at a sporting store. He's been there for a couple of years now. I bought a couple of firearms from there. I bought, projectiles from there. I bought things that I like, camping equipment, stuff like that. Not a lot, just some. I remember talking to him one day. I gave him a suggestion on what to do in times like these, because I guess people just don't project. They just don't forecast anything that could happen. They just don't forecast catastrophes. For example, like what happened in Tennessee and Carolina and Florida. Some people just don't project it. They're working, they're making the money. They're eating well, they're having fun, they're going to Disney. I mean, life couldn't be any better. It couldn't get any worse. Okay? It's going to remain good. So I asked him, I said, I suggest, this is what you should do. He said, I'm not into all that, nothing like that. I'm like, dude, you are the one. I'm telling you right now. Look like you might even have a family. He works in a sporting good place where he can get everything he wants at a discount, if not free. So I'm sure there's no reason to tell me that he doesn't, or he's not prepared. He's not going to prepare it. But he just told me, he said he's not into all of that I suggested. There's some things I do that a lot of people aren't doing. So once again, underestimating the situation. Some may view survival as a recreational challenge rather than a serious life or death situation. That really keeps a person complacent, unquote. When they view survival as a recreational challenge, and they don't see it as a probability that they might need to use or that might happen upon them, then a serious life or death situation, leading to inadequate preparation. See, when it all comes down, they panic. They come to you. You've been talking to them, you've been cluing them, you've been giving them little tidbits of information, letting them know. They laugh it off, shrug it off, ignore it, reject it. But when it all comes down, they come to you with hollow, wide eyes. You got something? You have something for me? Can you help me? I understand where I'm coming from. But they were told. 5, negative attitude. Without a positive mindset, individuals may succumb to hopelessness, reducing their chances of survival. God forbid. When I say God, I mean the universe forbids. I really don't like to say God. Millions of people say God. What God are they talking about? Who knows? But we do know there's a universe out there. And the one who created the universe and created everything in it that we see and that we don't see even created the good that deviated from the path of righteousness, forbids that we be so null-minded. Universe did, however the universe was created, it was created complete. With the movement, with the natural catastrophes that we experience, for the purpose of growth and progress pertaining to the universe. So God, believe me, everybody has a God. But they see God figuratively, not spiritually, not cosmically, not universally. Overall, cultivating a positive attitude, mental resilience, and basic survival skills are crucial for improving outcomes in survival scenarios. That's that. Let's go here. How do people typically react when faced with a survival situation? I'm going to read to y'all this morning. If you don't like the way I'm reading and you don't think I'm doing it right, do it for yourself. When faced with a survival situation, people typically exhibit a range of responses and attitudes. Kind of like I already went at this part right here. Panic and anxiety. Many individuals experience panic and anxiety due to fear of the unknown. Whoop! Well, everybody kind of jump when they hear something like that, right? But then again, you gather your senses as soon as you possibly can. You don't want it to take hold of your spirit and your energy too long, which can impair decision making and lead to irrational actions. Shit. I can imagine some of these festivals and what do you call these performances that went on, like the one that went on a few years ago. What's that dude's name? Travis Scott, something like that. Not on him, but when something happened, you had people running over each other, walking. Look, you had a whole bunch of grown-ass people in there, knocking each other down, stomping. You see. And that's happened a few times. Inaction or freezing. A common reaction is cognitive paralysis or freezing, where individuals are unable to process information or take action in response to danger. That's something there that we all have to practice against, is inaction or freezing. A lot of people are good against that, but it can happen. 3, denial and deliberation. Some people initially deny the severity of the situation, leading to delayed responses. Once they recognize the threat, they may deliberate before taking decisive action. Kind of like freezing. Fight, flight, or freeze. The body's natural stress response can result in fight, flight, or freeze reactions, impacting how individuals handle crises. Positive attitude and resilience. Maintaining a positive attitude and resilience is crucial for survival. Those who focus on small victories and maintain hope are more likely to survive. Training and preparation can significantly improve responses by providing individuals with the skills and confidence needed to act effectively in emergencies. Where's the soldiers at? There's some soldiers around here. But where they at? What are the most effective ways to manage anxiety in survival situations? Let's go here. I'm going to give it to you today. In a survival situation, managing anxiety effectively is crucial to maintaining focus and making sound decisions. Here are some effective strategies. Mindfulness and relaxation. Practice mindfulness to stay present and reduce anxiety-provoking thoughts. Again, practice mindfulness to stay present and reduce anxiety-provoking thoughts. Try not to focus on things that produce anxiety. Maybe a threat, maybe a common threat, a verbal threat. Maybe the possibility or the probability of something happening. You can weigh it out and figure it out. And don't put too much energy in those thoughts. Techniques like progressive muscle relaxation and deep breathing can help release tension and calm the mind. I remember when I was working at the Bubble Room. Bubble Room is where parts of Home Alone was filmed. I worked there. It was in Orlando, Florida. And I was making all the bubble bread. Bubble bread was delicious. It was French bread, toasted, and then they put homemade blue cheese on it. I was screaming, and butter and cheese on it. I was screaming. I had to make that. I was in charge of that. And I remember when crowds would come through there and the manager, they get their heave-ho attitude. It would stress me out. This one white dude, he passed to me, he said, "Thomas," he said, breathe, Thomas, breathe. That was a concern. And I did it a couple of times, but later is when it came upon me that breathing is necessary to focus upon certain issues. It's necessary to rid yourself of certain spiritual issues. And it does relieve stress, but you have to practice at it. You have to do it constantly. It relieves stress. Because you notice how your chest gets tight and the middle of your stomach gets tight. A lot of times that stress eventually contributes to cancer and other things like that, colon cancer. A lot of people that are leaving here because of colon cancer or whatever, it's a combination of stress that creates poisons in your stomach and diet. I guarantee you that. Two, correct breathing techniques. Use diaphragmatic breathing to prevent hyperventilation, which can exacerbate anxiety symptoms. Exercise. Physical activity helps burn stress chemicals. See? Stress chemicals. And promote relaxation, making it a valuable tool for managing anxiety. Number 4. Structured problem solving. Break down problems into manageable steps to reduce anxiety and regain control over the situation. Positive attitude. That's something I try to keep in all cases. When I'm talking to people, I'm quickly processing what they say so that I can respond in kind. Some people, is almost when you're speaking to them, it's like they stop for a few seconds to process what you're thinking, like robots. I mean, what the hell are you? Sometimes you have to stop and process, kind of stand off and process. Did you say that? No. A lot of times you should be able to respond in kind to people, unless you have to ask them the question again. You're teed off. You don't believe they said that, but that's the way conversation usually goes, hand in hand like that. Positive attitude, maintaining a positive mindset, and focusing on small victories can improve resilience and reduce anxiety in challenging situations. How can mindfulness be practiced effectively in a survival situation? Well, that again, we've already been there. Let's go down here. What are some practices relaxing to next? Okay, we got that. As you see the titles right here, you can drop these titles if you're willing to type them out in your phone, and it'll give you some more information. I'm not going to read all this because it gets redundant. Some of it is just breaking down. It's almost a thesauruses of explanations. So what else we have here? How does correct breathing help in managing anxiety during emergencies? Well, it was already told. Then it says, what dietary adjustments can help reduce anxiety in survival situations? We'll tap into that. Coffee time. Yeah. We'll do this for you. I'm going to give you me this morning. But see, I'm a people person. Nothing really gets me upset. Disappointment? Yeah. Upset? Nah, that's another waste of energy. If I get upset, I'm the type of person, I'll just quiet down
Bluetooth pairing.
About it. I might talk about it.
Connected.
But I am not going to, I'm not going to burn a whole bunch of energy getting mad at you and all that stuff like that while you over there getting mad at me because I'm not getting mad at you. Come on now. Shit like that leads into knuckle busting, shootouts, stabbings, and killings and stuff like that. And I don't want to get stabbed, and I don't want to hurt and stab nobody. Because I know my final reaction a lot of times can be detrimental to me or the person. I'm not trying to go to jail. I don't want you put in jail. Let's be human. People are losing their humanity. Hopefully this is, I got my Bluetooth on. Hopefully this is being taped because I talked. In survival scenarios, dietary adjustments can play a crucial role in managing anxiety. Here are some effective strategies. Nutrient-rich foods. Incorporate foods high in magnesium, zinc, and omega-3 fatty acids such as leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish like salmon. These nutrients support brain health and can help reduce anxiety symptoms. Well, people are talking about, on one hand, people telling you what they're online telling you what, and impressing a lot of people, what to eat and what not to eat. And you need to decide what's good for you. Because what I've read when it comes to horoscope, zodiac signs, what have you, there's actually foods meant for every individual. Every individual has actually a certain diet. And you know, here in America, we eat everything that looks good. Everybody's eating the same thing. And I'm not disciplined at eating what my horoscope suggests. But leafy greens and vegetables I know are important. I haven't been on that for a while. But I do have sources of leafy greens because where you can't cook and what have you, they have powders out there. And we'll see when it comes to avoiding food, sometimes you have to decide what's going to be good for you in the long run. You might buy a couple of packages of green powder that'll last you a month or two. That might cost you anywhere from $10 to $15. Well, that's $30 worth of vegetables, right? But then you like meat or fish. Well, you might buy canned fish. That $40 might last you a whole month depending on how you structure your diet. Because you got to remember, diet is pretty much sold to us through ads, through the media. You know, it tickles our fancy. What looks good usually is what we go after. And what does it do? It costs us a lot. So I know this. All I need to do is discipline myself. I'm just letting you know what's really happening. You can live off of $50 a month, depending on your discipline and how you select your nutrients. Maybe soon I will show you. You will lose weight, which I'm not really a big person, and you will build your nutrient level up. Your health level will be astounding. Telling you the truth. Number 2, complex carbohydrates. Consume whole grains like oats. Well, come to find, if you can get organic oats, because come to find out, oats have a lot of pesticides in it. So you're going to have to see what doesn't contain a lot of pesticides, because these pesticides, for the most part, if they're using too much, yes, it can be dangerous. So oats has a lot of pesticides. Quinoa, I don't know, but I know about quinoa. I like it. Then you got brown rice. See, I like all this stuff. I enjoy all this. See, it does come to a time, too, where you do have to, I guess you would say, fast to clean your system. Or if you have the ability to grow oats and quinoa and brown rice and stuff like that on your own, which that's quite a task. You need the climate and what have you to grow that stuff. Well, rice grows in California. Just have to have the land and the time. See what these things do, they stabilize the blood sugar levels and promote steady energy and mood, because they're complex carbohydrates. They have their sugars in it, but see, oats also has also has a mineral in it that it balances out or controls sugar. I would say most of the grains do. Then you have number 3, antioxidant rich foods. Includes fruit like blueberries and strawberries. Strawberries are high in pesticides. See, all this stuff that we're supposed to eat. See, this is where the system has us. It has us going to the stores and buying stuff that they mass produce, so corporations get rich and control the food. And now that the population builds, they try to grow more of this shit. And it's full of pesticides in order to keep the bugs away from it. So we've gone a long ways from producing our food organically and naturally, to where a lot of what we experience today, so many airplanes, so many cars, so many fog producing and poison producing vehicles and machinery is just doing us an injustice. We've gone a long way from producing our own, tilling our own, putting our back into it. And once again, like I say, the universe does what it does. Catastrophes. But when that's all over, what? You go right back to tilling the soil on your own. And then when it's all good, it's well appreciated. You can trade with your friends. You can live. You can build humanity. Humanity's going to pot right now. They want to put chips in people. We have what is called an administration that walks back and forth trying to figure out how they're going to do something against us, for us, whatever they're trying to do. Then you get, excuse me, then you get a tech head up there. Who knows what he's got in store? And each one of them has an agenda. One or two of them have a fairly good agenda. How it's going to come out, I don't know. He got into place. He talks about health and what have you. That's all a good thing. But if you any way like me and a few other people out here, a lot of other people out here, you know that this is not where the system is to go. So nevertheless, if you can get organic fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, good. But nevertheless, we have to do what we're going to do. Just got to be careful. Hydration. Ensure adequate water intake to prevent dehydration, which can exacerbate anxiety. Avoid stimulants. Well, I like my coffee. Limit caffeine. Well, I don't drink a lot. I don't do a lot. Okay, check it out. Okay, avoid stimulants. Limit caffeine and sugar intake to prevent spikes in anxiety levels. Yep. Well, I like my coffee. Okay, now here's the thing. They said caffeine. Coffee is going to be a lot safer. And some of your energy drinks, depending on what you're drinking, are not too bad. But there are some people, I would say that a quarter of their diet is energy drinks. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those a day. And all I'm saying is, coffee is what it is. But the energy drinks, you don't know what you're drinking. They got this label there. You drink it for the caffeine or whatever. I remember I went through a thing drinking energy drinks. And I drink them periodically, but I like natural energy drinks like yerba mate, what have you. I don't know how they do it, but I like those. But I was going through a thing where I was drinking. They had something called Vamp back in the day. I was drinking these. And then something told me this is crazy. Because I would drink 1 or 2 of those and couldn't sleep. I'm the type of person, if I drink the wrong stimulant, it affects my sleeping. Then I broke it down to something called 360s. I don't find them anymore. They were safe to me. They have a few safe energy drinks out there. But being addicted, because they can be addicting. I mentioned one guy about him drinking so many energy drinks, that offended him. See, this is what I'm telling you about people that cannot be in your circle. Easily offended. You don't want people like that in your circle. Let them do what they're going to do. Let them perish, whatever they're going to do. Keep them out of your circle if you're trying to do something, if you're trying to survive. If you have survivors there, that 1 weak link can screw up your whole platoon. I just wanted to read that to you today. And if you find some of it comical, shame on you. But I know I can be a little bit humorous. But at the same time, take my presentation seriously. Because you have been warned by those in the White House, let alone the clown that's leaving, that we are in some dire times. We're already in dire times. So don't move around complacent. Don't move around like everything's going to be good day by day. It'll be good day by day as you prepare for the situations to come. Peace. You know who it is.